So
Yeah.
the topic today, kids, is we were talking, last week we spent a lot of time, said some great stuff on talking about the way we start our days. And I thought that was really good. It was really interesting because we all started completely different, but exactly the same, right? Which means we all have different routines, but we all have it's amazing that all of us have a routine. And so today we're going to talk about what do you do during the week, during the day. So we have our morning routine, and I know you guys are probably like me that we have our daily during the day routine. What do you do? So we have our morning start, then we do our morning business, and now it's lunchtime, and we know that 74.37% of all realtors in the world stop working after lunch because they go to lunch, have a couple drinks, and then they go home and take a nap, right? But the other 25% is actually still paying, is still working. So, uh, Maddie, I want to start with you. I'm going to have you actually take us through, because you weren't here last week, and I know you're very structured, your morning routine and then your midday routine. So tell me what you're doing in your morning and then in your midday so people on the call can hear your morning routine also.
Okay. Well, I start off in the morning with always doing some sort of exercise. As long as it's not raining, that would be surfing. So I'm actually sitting here at the beach right now, looking out at the waves in my van. And so when we're done here, I'm going to jump in the water. Um, and I do that just because, you know, obviously exercise just makes you kind of rejuvenates you, right? So um, I always work out some way in the morning. If it's like raining, which is unusual here, I might hop on the Peloton or, whatever. But that's generally what I always do in the morning. Um, and I always go out no matter what, as long as it's not raining. Uh, like I don't care if the waves are bad or it's flat or whatever. I just go out to get exercise. I usually get out a lot earlier than I'm getting out this morning because it's obviously 9 o'clock. But and then when I get out of the water, I go home. And one thing that I totally can identify with what you said about most agents don't work in the afternoon because they go into a food coma after lunch. And I used to do that. Um, I don't I don't eat during the day anymore. I started doing that about 2 years ago because I heard on a podcast that it was really healthy just to eat one meal a day. So I just do various types of working on marketing and lead follow up and lead generation throughout the day. And then I do try to reserve a part of the day for agent attraction. So just, calling a few agents here and there. And I got that Brent Gove. Um, and I just always try to be doing something. And what I really try to avoid, because I've seen how it can sap your time, is screwing around on the internet. You know what I mean? Um, so like today, for example, I'm going to jump in the water and surf when we're done here. I'm going to go home. I've got 6 videos that I'm going to shoot at home. Um, and hopefully I can get that done by around 1 o'clock. And then I'm going to peel off. We're going to go get a Christmas tree. And then when I come home in the afternoon, I'll try to I'll make some calls for a couple hours or something like that, or do some work with Diane. But that's pretty much what I do every day.
Okay, that's great. And it's funny you hit, I think, on the biggest point you hit on in that entire thing, besides going surfing with the sharks, is how much social media will drain you if that's what you do, right? You go on to social media or the internet, just which usually means social media these days, and you're done.
It takes so much time, and it's really and I'm not even big on, but I mean, I'll just read the news. That takes a lot of time. I don't need to be up on the news every 5 seconds of what's going on in the world, considering, obviously mostly negative news anyway, but, watching YouTube videos, that kind of, um, so yeah, that's, but I bet everybody is the same in that we all try to maybe do some exercise in the morning. I think that's huge. And sometimes you have to force yourself, but like I've been out of town for the last 10 days, so I haven't really done a whole lot of exercise. and it's pretty cold here in San Diego, and the water is now down to 60 degrees. So I'm going to have to push myself to go get in the water when we're done, but it'll be worth it because I'll feel great afterwards.
And keep in mind, relatively, what's your temperature there today? Like 65, probably.
No, it was there was frost on everything this morning. It's probably still in the 40s.
Wow, that's really cold for you guys.
Real cold snap. It might be in the 50s by now, but
I think the middle part of our country is having a blizzard right now. So
yeah,
hit a couple feet of snow. So it is all relative. It's still not snowing. It's chilly here too. It's going to be 50 degrees on Saturday.
But hey,
okay.
Mitch, let me just finish with, because I'm a broken record telling everybody on our team about this, but I really look forward to this time of the year because it's when I, plan all of my marketing for the coming year. And so for everybody on the call, there's so many different ways to generate leads, whether it's, old stuff like direct mail, which still works, or, online stuff, et cetera, making it rain, whatever. But the point is, we're all in the lead generation business. And this is the time of the year when you have a little bit of time to kind of look at your business like a team owner, as opposed to, say, a quarterback. And so it gives you the time to really plan out your marketing for the year. And I always tell everybody, you want to create a marketing plan that runs on autopilot, so that when you get busy in the springtime, you don't take your eye off the ball and your marketing stops because you don't have time to direct it, and customize it and so forth. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we talked about this a few calls ago and I've been using your 11-1 as being New Year's Eve, like, to everybody I talk to. I've been pushing that everywhere because, right now you should not be taking time off right now. Now, I'm not saying don't take a little time off for Christmas. That's a couple of days, right? Don't be taking off November and December. We're already into December. Most of you have already missed November. You need to be doing something, and I'm in the planning stages right too, man. I'll get into that when I speak a little bit. Cameron, what are you doing? What's your, we know what your morning's like. We talked about that last week. What do you do, from 10 to 2, 10 to 3 in the afternoon? What are you doing?
So yeah, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great holiday season, getting all festive. First off, social media, you were right on, Matt. You have to stay off social media. Two types of social media people. You have your consumers, which is the general population, and you have your creators. You'll find your creators don't use any of it. We hate it, to be honest. None of us really enjoy the social media apps because we have learned and we're using them in a way that we're targeting people. And when you start using them, you feel targeted the entire time because you are. So make sure that you're not waking up, you're not checking your phone. That's one of the most important things I can tell you. Obviously, check your phone, make sure nothing important with your kids or your family happened, but do not check your phone and get into that 35 to 45 minute news cycle. That's normal now. It's people wake up and the very first thing they do is check their phone, and it's just a terrible way to start your day, start your mindset. It just doesn't get you going towards your goals. So obviously that's number one. You guys know what I do in the morning with working out and all that. I really say my kind of midday starts at around 9 a.m. That's kind of when the workday starts. We're doing all of our emails, text messages, social media messages from 8 to 9. And then right at 9, I do all my calling. So anything that's on my CRM that I need to call that day, that's when I start reaching out to people. And that's when I would say my midday schedule starts. Now, one thing that's important, depending on where you are with your team, if you're having your team members go out and do your showings, or you're having your team members do open houses, your schedule is going to be completely different than I think probably most of ours, where we're trying to outsource as much as we can because we're able to use our team that way. So I'm going to go through my schedules, or what I would schedule if I was my solo single agent back when I was doing it 100% myself. We would still do all the messages, all the phone calls. And then at 10 a.m. is when I always start showings. It allows my clients to wake up. Obviously, they're here in Southwest Florida. I don't want to rush them out of bed, but 10 a.m. is a great time to start showings. It allows you to get to the destination, allows them to wake up. So I would do 10 a.m. showings, and I would be showing people 4 to 5 times a week. So every day, do all my messages, all my phone calls. If I had to do phone calls in the car, that's no big deal. Meet them, be there 5 minutes early, get all the lights on for that first showing, and then showings throughout the day. Now, when you get done with the day, you should have messages and you should have replies from everything that you sent out in the morning. So that's when then obviously you would reply back to those people. That would get you to around 3, 4 o'clock. One thing I always have recommended, if you are doing prospecting for listings in the morning and you have to go out on buyer showings, make sure that you set up plenty of time for your end of your showings to your listings, because we have found, or I have done it many times, where I think, hey, I'm going to be back to the office at 2. I can do this listing presentation at 3:30, and I don't get back to the office until 3:15, and then it just makes you look like you have egg on your face. So make sure you're separating your time. Most important thing of all of this is pre-write down what you're trying to get done the day before. Use your goal sheet, have your priorities, have your goals. And whenever you're feeling like you don't have anything to do, because we all feel that way, it's like, okay, I accomplished what I was working on. You can have this sitting, I literally have it sitting right here in front of my keyboard, and I just go back to what's the next thing I need to work on, and I start working on that. It allows my little ADHD brain to focus in on something, because if I don't, I'll just go wander around and waste time. And that's the biggest thing I think for most agents they have to deal with, is that water cooler chat type mentality. If you have stuff you have to do, you're much more likely to start working on it. You're much more likely to be happy about it. And when you're checking stuff off, you're getting that dopamine rush of every time that you're completing stuff throughout your day. So have your checklist, have stuff that you want to do, refer back to it throughout the day. And then obviously, make sure that you're accomplishing this stuff. You have to stay self-accountable. That's obviously the biggest one, is make sure you're accountable to yourself. If you're not, reach out to one of us or reach out to your upline members. That's the greatest part here with EXP and this team, is that we are able to help you. We are able to coach you. We're able to hold you accountable because we want you to be successful. So reach out to us. We're here for you. Now, who I don't think was Matt. Was it you were saying don't take time off, or was it Mitch? This isn't time to slow down your business, you guys. We need to ramp up. When the market slows down, you need to double what you're doing. That way, when the market picks back up, you're able to boom, just like all of us have been doing. This is when you need to really focus in on what you're doing. Like you said, if you're putting in new strategies, Matt, like you're saying, if you're putting in your new marketing, do that now, get it going, because it's not going to get easier, quickly. So make sure you get it rolling, get it working. That way, everything that you implement now is, working. The other thing is if you guys are on a schedule, you have some time off, right? If you're on a schedule every single day and you're working it, say 6 p.m. or 6:30, whenever your time off is, and you can close everything down, you're going to not feel as, needing that week off or those Christmas holidays, all those holidays, because every day you're doing what you should be doing. Now, I be honest, I'm not great at turning my phone off at 6 o'clock. I work a lot. I'm very young. I love that. That's kind of my big sales pitch, is I'm available 24/7. But at the same time, you have to set your schedule with your clients. And when you do that, you're going to be able to, expand not only just your business, but also your personal life. You'll be able to spend time with your husband, your wife, your kids. And it's going to allow you not to feel like these holidays are as desperate, because that's what I know a lot of my team members feel like, is like, I work 24/7 all day long. This 1 week is the time I spend with family. And I'd rather have you guys on a schedule, working it so that every single day there's a time that, you're done and you can spend time with your friends and family, because that's what's important, is your family.
Yeah, that's what they keep telling us. So yeah, great stuff. Before we go to the next person, I want to throw something out there just quickly on, because you kind of touched on it a little bit, Cam, is mindset with this market. I met with agents this morning, about 20 of them, and I love them to death, but their mindset is the market's bad. And Dennis and I just had this conversation on the phone 5 minutes ago. But I want to throw this example out there that I've been using with my agents to get this. And I think we know a few of our other guys on this use this. If you bought a home in May for there was a $450,000 home, you paid $500,000 for that house in May, and it's 3% interest. That's $2,800 a month, roughly. If you bought that same home today, that $450,000 home today, you're paying $4.25 for it, and it's 6.5%. You're at $2,900. So basically, buyers, and I heard buyers doing this, agents doing this morning. That's why I wanted to bring it up today. They're telling people, well, the market's really bad. Interest rates are going crazy. Interest rates are normal right now. 6%, if you look over time, is an average normal interest rate forever. So really important that you don't tell your customers not to buy right now. This is a great time to buy. There's no more competition for buying houses, which is a great time to buy. You're not paying $50,000 and starting negative $50,000 over in minus equity when you're starting. You're starting with $25,000 equity, and you're paying $100 more. So you have to describe this correctly to your customers, or you're losing customers. So the reason why we have not as many buyers right now it's because of agents. And because the media is out there telling them, I just saw a thing this morning how interest rates are at 6% and the real estate market's collapsing. It's collapsing because the agents are not doing it correctly. Right. So you need to make sure you do it. Sorry, I didn't want to go off on that, but it's really important that I think our agents understand that you got to stop bashing the market and start talking about how great a market this is. All right, Randy,
And
let's go to you.
hold on. Randy,
go ahead, Cam.
well, hold on. Just because let's make that even better. Making sure that you wake up and you're not getting on your cell phone to digest CNN and CNBC and all the news sources that are just polluting us with stuff so that we click on it so that when they get their ad revenue. It's so important, you guys. Wake up, go into your workout, go into your routine, and try to stay away from the social media and all the news because your mindset, like you just said, is so important. And if everyone's feeding you bad, it's only going to be bad. If you join us and you're with your group and you're with your tribe, and it's like, no, we just had 3 closes this week. We got 2 buyers coming into town, 2 new listings, everything's working. Your whole mindset on the market's different. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with us and with your team, and that's really important.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Randy, what's your midday look like?
So I touched at the end last week that I have themes for each day, and I do my best to stick to that theme for majority of the day. Things obviously sneak in from other businesses that I have, but I know that Monday is my theme is to reach out to my sphere, my past clients, my future clients, my in the works, soon to be clients. So Monday is focused on traditional realtor business. So in the afternoon, I have a meeting with my my business partner, Jessica, who's like my right-hand person, right, for all my transactions. So that's my, my Monday, what it looks like in terms of during the day. And I have that meeting. Tuesday is my theme is agent attraction, right? Because I have that opportunity by being with EXP. So I do focus on that. We have a lot of opportunities there coming our way through our network. So Tuesday is really dedicated to that activity. And every other Tuesday, I'll have a team meeting for my local team in Southern California. So that's Tuesday. So again, I have another meeting usually in the middle of the day for that involves that activity. And then Wednesday is my business of land. So I'm also in a land flipping business. I have a partner there. So I dedicate Wednesday to the land business mostly. And I have a long 2-hour meeting in the middle of the day for that. And then Thursday is again back to agent attraction. So I'm on this call with you. Then I jump right back after this call to another Zoom with our influencers at EXP. And then after these meetings, I usually leave a lot of time for Zoom meetings with agents that I want to discuss the opportunities. So like today I have, I think, two of those after all the morning meetings. So I have a lot of meetings. And then Friday is my like flex day, like I told you. And the theme there is really things that are more house related, financial assets, planning. My wife, like I have what we call a coffee date. So a coffee day is basically a business meeting for my wife and I, because we look at our marriage like it's a business too, right? Like it's a household. We're running a business. It's a house. It's a family. There's a lot of moving parts. We, especially now, we have an 18-month-old. We have another one on the way. And, before when we didn't have kids, it was easy to do those coffee dates on a Saturday afternoon because we had no distractions. Well, now we can't. So we have to do that while our nanny is at our house. So we can actually leave the house. My wife and I on Friday around 10 a.m., we leave the house and we do our business meeting, aka coffee date, to talk about us, our household, our marriage. So it's dedicated and for our finances, right? So there's action items if we need to. Like right now, we're making adjustments to our trust, right? This is something most of us forget, right? You set up a trust, but then you don't update it yearly, right? So we're updating our trust right now. So that's a conversation. So that's the way I operate, because I have, I guess, several businesses, let's call it. My goal always is to find the who for each of those businesses, so I'm not in the weeds and being a technician. I'm going to be a technician to some parts of my business, but I want to outsource most of it to someone else that is grateful for that opportunity, right? So they could be my who. And I think I recommended this book, Who Not How, several meetings ago, and I would highly, highly recommend reading that book. If you feel stuck somewhere right now in your business because you just have a lot going on, or maybe you're working full time, or maybe you have another business and you're trying to get this realtor career going, read Who Not How, and I think it can really open up your mind to not trying to figure out how to do it all yourself, but find others that can fill in the gaps, right, for the things you can't do. So that's kind of how I operate my whole week. Every week I'm meeting with my who's, right, for each of the businesses, and Friday is my most important who, which is my wife. I'm her who, she's my who, right? Without both of us, none of this would exist, which is our family and our household. So that's the most important meeting of the week. And I'll end there.
I can visualize this. I just had this visualization. It was a Friday afternoon about 4 months ago, and Randy said, all right, I think today we have to have a baby 9 months from to now. So that's going to be on the schedule today. We good? That's because we need another dependent really quickly.
Yes.
Anyways, let's go over to Mr. Pennsylvania, Mr. Philly boy, who never brings me any steak and cheese. I'm very sad about that. What's up, Greg?
Steak and cheese. I don't know why, but it's cheese steak instead of steak and cheese. But it's just one of those Philly things.
Yeah,
First of all, Sherry, I'm glad to see you're on here coming in from Florida. New team that just came on to us with the XP. I talked about my mornings the other day. It's big and routine. I'm kind of like Cameron. By 10 o'clock, it's lunchtime. I'm ready to go. I'm not ready to eat lunch, but I'm ready to go. I'm full blown in. I'm usually driving people crazy at that point, because from the time I get up and I'll start calls with people that are my accountability calls, I'll talk to my VP, which is my virtual professional partner, not my VA. I don't like an assistant thing. I try to give them a title. So she's my VP of me. So we have a conversation for 20 minutes every morning, every allotted accountability call. Gail DeMarco, who's on there, Liz Brown. I have about 7 to 8 calls that are by 10 o'clock. I know that I'm in, whether I'm with clients in 15-minute increments. So I set them calls up from 10 to roughly 2:30, 3 o'clock. I'm typically on appointments, meeting people, showing things, talking to clients about listing, prospecting, reviewing with past clients. Lunchtime areas are typically like a mastermind call, or I set up a call with my marketing team, which is on Tuesday at 12, Thursdays with you guys. This is gospel. If you ever miss this, this is like, it's almost like not sleeping. This is addictive on Thursdays. I swear to God, seeing you guys and everybody here. But then on the other days, I try to schedule a lunch with somebody for attraction, somebody who is looking for help, somebody who I want to help with, a past client, whatever it may be. We try to have a short lunch, a healthy lunch. We do not go near the booze. We don't do that. This is crack. Get rid of it. Don't use it. It's a business tool. It's not for social media. Get off of it. You will find out the time that you're wasting sitting there. They say, look at your time clock of what you really look at on there, because I think your Apple phones can do that. That's time wasted. You can't replace time. Typically then by mid-afternoon, I'm on the cleaning up the mess that I created in the morning, trying to make the end of the day brilliant. And accountability, did I achieve what I wanted to do for the day? And I know we're going to talk about the end of the day next week, but that's pretty much where my middle part is. It's a moving thing. I try to do all my business people that I need to meet with. I try to do on Friday, anywhere between 10 and 2. I'll try to set up calls, those half-hour Zoom calls for people that I'm trying to do. Maybe it's new software. Maybe it's letting a software company go by. Maybe it's meeting with my accountants, my bankers, whatever it may be. I try to set that on a Friday, because Friday's a kind of a downish day for a lot of people because their brain aren't there. So I'll go hard that Friday midday. I try to do that, and then Friday afternoon clock out. But again, I'll still go 7 days a week on the phone with calls, so I'll still be talking to people. I don't shut down. To me, it's just me. I do shut down after certain hours, But I do take calls, and I will do calls over the weekend if they're dollar productive calls, not just making calls at all. So
Right.
that's my midday. And I do meet with my VP in the morning. We meet for about 15 minutes again around noontime, whether we're on here on a Google Meet, and then again at the end of the day. So we're on a call for about 20 minutes, 3 times a day.
Cool. Cool. Brian, what does your midday look like?
Let me unmute. Hey, good morning, guys. Sorry I was late to the party. I think last time when I was sharing my morning, I kind of hinted about my afternoons and days. Is after being in this business as long as I have, I've worn a lot of hats. And when I was a manager and I wasn't an agent really anymore, I had different specific goals. 50 hours a week was all in compliance. I was in your transactions as your back end manager. That was what I was doing. But I'm going to take you back to really what I believe is the most productive part of any real estate agent's calendar is when they know they're most productive. And I found out I was most productive between 11 and 6. Between 11 and 6, because my morning was my morning routine. From 11 to 6, most people are at work, and realtors who are working should be out doing professional things. Like if you're a transactional agent, you should be out previewing property. You alone. Don't take clients with you unless they want to go with you. You can look at 20 houses in an hour and a half strategically without people if you need to. Do it without people, but let your clients know that's what you are doing. I would call my clients on a Monday or a Tuesday or Wednesday when I saw a property come up on the market, and I would call them. I would just say, hey, a property exactly like your wish list hit the market today. I've already talked to the agent. There's no offers on it. I'm running over to look at it today at 2 o'clock. I'll call you from the property, right? It's all efficiency, all efficiency. I would be able to leave my office, go look at that property. I could be out with 2 other clients, and in between client appointments, I could run by and look at a property and call a client from a property and just say, hey, I'm in the house right now. Check it out. Here's what it has. Here's what it doesn't have. I think it's a waste of your time, or I think you need to come see this ASAP. It was that kind of, I called that the Nordstrom's treatment. I didn't want my clients to have any knowledge of what's going on. I wanted them off of Zillow. I wanted them off of Redfin. I wanted them to be efficient at their work and trust me that I was going to do what I said I was going to do. It was so much easier. So between 11 and 6 was a premium time for me to be doing transactions the way I like to do them, which is by myself in my transaction mode, going and visiting houses and or sellers. So I was constantly looking at comps for a new listing. Oh, excuse me. That was my production hour. I made videos for Randy when I was a manager that said, I don't know what you like to do, but I love, why did you get into this business? What's your why? And my why was I love houses. I love going into houses. I can remember floor plans from 37 years ago by driving by a front door and going, I've been in that house. I remember that backyard. I remember that. That's just my gift. I don't know why. I just love houses. I love floor plans. I see through walls. I can move walls in my brain. I can do all these things. And I'm colorblind, which really helps my clients because if they have a theme, I don't see it. I see a floor plan. I see a house. I see what's perfect. And then I do this effectively. And I know I'm passionate because I can do this and make a lot of money between 11 and 6 when everybody else is at work. That was my go time. That's my midday. I'm your agent. I'm in the field. I'm not in the office. None of my clients are in the office with me during the week unless they have to be for, signing contracts. But I had a broker who once told me, she said, Brian, if you're not transactional by Friday, you're working this weekend. I didn't like to work weekends because I have daughters who play soccer and all the way 15 years of 2 daughters, 2 years apart, playing all the way from 5 years old to collegiate soccer. They went to a college 1.5 hours away from my house. I never missed a game, never, because I was efficient with my time, my family, and I block out. That's an appointment to go to a soccer game. I made that an appointment because they were playing college ball during a Tuesday, a Wednesday at 3:30 in Laguna Beach, and I'm an hour and a half away. So my midday was what I needed to be. I just figured out what I was most successful at, and I did that. That was my why. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I would meet people. I'd be previewing property and there'd be a buyer sitting in front of the house, driving by going, wow, you're an agent? Could I see this house? Yeah, come on in. They'd come in with me. I'd preview homes by myself, and then I'd meet buyers out there and I'd ask them questions, just specifically, what was it about this house that you like? And I'd just get quiet. And then I'd call the listing agent. I go, hey, I'm here. I met a buyer out front by the curb. I'll turn them over to you if they called you, but if they haven't called you yet, is it okay if I show them the house? I would just be open and honest and do that. I can tell you, I did so many transactions because I was out in the marketplace. And that's my midday is nobody in your office is going to buy a freaking house from you. You'll put a deal together in your office, but everybody else should be out in the field. And that was my mindset, is nobody in my office would buy a house. And if my clients weren't there for an appointment, I didn't need to be there either. I was there in the morning or at night.
Great. You're full of energy today, Brian.
Sorry. I
get exhausted listening to you.
I love transactions, and I can't find them in my office. I'm hanging around at the water cooler just talking about crap, and the media and the blah, blah, blah. You can't let that. Your mind will hold you hostage. Get out of your mind and go out in the market.
Yeah, you got to get out. I mean, that's a whole nother session, right? Just getting out. Where we at? Dennis, tell us what's your midday look like?
So my midday, guys, is 10 in the morning. So I wake up at 5:30 now. So I go to bed around 10, wake up at 5:30. You'd be amazed how much work you can get done between 5:30 and 9 o'clock in the morning. Most people are waking up at 8. I've accomplished almost a day's worth of work by 9 o'clock. It's unbelievable because you don't have distractions. This is your biggest distraction right here. Okay. I've said this before. How many times have you jumped on an airplane with no internet connection for 5 hours and you might get a little anxious because you can't check your emails? You land and you check your emails, takes you 2 seconds, right? You had 3 emails that one might be important. So put this away. When you're time blocking, just put your phone away. You don't need to look at your emails. If you feel the urgency, maybe in the beginning, check your emails first thing, but then just put it away. So I would suggest, like Cameron said, don't check your emails, don't check your phone, don't check anything until you get your work done. So that's suggestion number 1. Workout routine is really, really important in the morning. I'm going to post a little video in the chat here. I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. He does a thing called priming. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. It's a breathing exercise, basically. If you don't have time to work out and you're just in your home, you can watch his video, watch it a few times, learn what he does, and you can just do it on your own in your chair. It's probably the most amazing thing just to get your energy at a different level than when you wake up. It's just a breathing's, it's all about breathing, right? So that's what I do in the morning. I do a priming exercise in the morning. I get everything done by 9 o'clock. And then from 9 to 12, my midday for everybody else, I make calls and I get things rolling. Agent attraction, sales, all of the above. That's pretty much what I do, Mitch.
Yeah. So basically we all do pretty much the exact same thing. We just continue working.
Yeah. I was going to say it's midday work. Yep.
Yeah. So it's fine because, I'm just, Gail, is that you there? Are you there, Gail, or is that somebody else? I don't think that's actually Gail there. I think it's just a person on Gail's account. Because Gail would put her pretty face on the picture there. So, mine's pretty interesting because I pretty much do Zoom calls all day long. I do probably 5 or 6 every day. We went over my morning routine of getting set up with my comedy and my guitar and my writing, and then some phone calls, just like everybody else. I don't sell houses anymore, but it's still the same, right? It's still the same thing as I consider like 11 to 3 my midday. And generally I try to book off 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me time. And so what I've learned, because I'm one of those guys, like all of us on this call, by the way, we all are 100% the whole day, almost all of us. Like Randy, I block out family time. Right? I make sure if I have something to do, like last night I had to go to my granddaughter's chorus and I had to be out of the office by 4. So I block that off. Everything's time blocking, which we all talk about all the time. But my daytime, when it's my me time, which is my 1 hour a day that I get to actually work on my business, it's literally like right now I'm in business strategy. So it's like I have 2023 is coming up. I've already done my goals, but goals don't mean anything if you don't have a strategy to achieve those goals. So now I'm working on what is my strategy to accomplish my goals. And I don't care, when I was selling hoses, it was the same thing. I used this time, I sold a lot of homes. I think I've told people this before. In January was always my best closing month because I worked my butt off in November and December. But I always still set up my strategy for the following year in this time of year, exactly this time of year, right before Christmas. And so I do my goals before December and then work on that. So right now, and right after this call is my time. And I'll be sitting down and working on my strategies on the few things that I want to accomplish. I'm looking at doing some TV advertising. I'm looking at doing it, possibly some radio advertising. I'm looking to set up more this roundtable events that I've been looking at right now that are really interesting. I'm doing a lot of events. So what do my events look like for 2023? How do I contribute more to more agents? How do I help more people? So those are all the things I'll work on in my hour a day in the afternoon that I have for me. Because in my life, in my business, my life is for everybody else. But it doesn't mean I'm not proactive. And that's the difference you'll find out about everybody on here versus everybody else in our business. Most of our agents are reactive, right? And your proactive agents are sitting there time blocking and they set the rules. And I had a conversation with an agent today. I go, how's it going? She goes, I'm just running around with my head cut off. I go, why? She goes, well, people are calling me. And I'm just like, I'm out here and they call me. I go, see this property. I go, why? And she goes, well, I need to sell them a house. I go, I get that. But if you're reactive, they're going to treat you as a reactive person, which generally means no respect, right? If you're proactive, you are now the professional. And so when I was selling houses, I did not show property in the morning. My morning was for working on my systems and all that stuff and prospecting like everybody else. And my showing time was from 1 to 4. And that's when I showed property. Never lost one customer. Now, did I make an exception here and there? Of course. But generally speaking, I did not lose a customer because I was the professional. When you're not proactive in picking the times that you want to work, you're not the professional, and you got to be the professional. All right, so we have 20 minutes here, and we've all talked about our midday, which is just a continuation of our morning day, which is working. And if you're not working, so I want to go around the room real quick and just pick out one thing. And we're coming into a new year right now. I don't know that we're meeting next week. I mean, it's the day before Christmas or 2 days before Christmas, so I think we might be off next week. We'll let everybody know in an email. And we'll pick up after Christmas. But give us one thing, in just a minute or two, that if you're a newer agent, because I know there's a lot of newer agents on here. If you were a newer agent, even experienced, what would you be planning for 2023 to really kick up? And I don't really want, I'll be getting in the right mindset, all that stuff, the stuff we talk about. But I want to talk about what's an action item that you can give somebody, 1 or 2, maybe just a couple minutes, that you can give an agent to change their career next year. And I'll start with you, Dennis, who we ended on. Dennis.
For a new agent, period. If I was broke or just starting off or whatever, and I was like in a desperate situation in real estate, 1000%, the number one thing you do is open houses. I would sit my ass in an open house 7 days a week for 7 hours. And I would just collect names and numbers. I'd be so busy within 2 months, I'd be all set. I mean, honestly, guys, open houses, period, is the number one thing to jumpstart your business. Do them every week. Pete's not on the call right now, but Pete's a big proponent. Pete and I, when we first started our real estate career here in San Diego, when we moved from Boston, that's all we did every weekend. We just did open houses and we just crushed it. We'd sell 30 to 50 houses a year our very first 2 years just by doing open houses. That's all we did. We didn't spend a dime. We just used our energy and efforts to collect names and numbers, and that's it. I mean, that's number one, period. There's no online advertising. There's no door knocking that's better than that. You sit in there, bring your laptop, and people walk in and talk to you. I mean, how's it get easier than that?
Yeah.
So
great. I'm a huge, as you know, a huge proponent of open houses. And I think what we'll do, maybe right after the first of the year, we'll do another open house class, because the last time we did that it was unbelievable stuff from all of us. And I'll tell you on this is the time again to do open houses. It was really challenging a few months ago when homes were sold in a day, but our open house systems, I know all of us have some amazing systems. So I think maybe after we do our ending stuff, the next class, we'll do the next one on open houses again. Because I think that's something we could do every quarter and everybody will get something out of it because it's big. But right now you can do open houses again. It was really hard to do when the homes were selling in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's go to
Hey, Mitch.
Brian. What?
Hey,
Yep.
Mitch, I'll jump in on this real quick,
Okay.
but I can't tell you investors, right, that flip homes that have inventory sitting on the books, they're begging agents to do open houses,
Mhm.
right? Those are the best ones because they're vacant, beautiful. Like, reach out to investors and ask, hey, what days of the week are your houses not being opened by your go-to agent? Because most of them, they usually have one in-house agent, right? But that one in-house agent can only handle one open house that day. And if they have 5 flips that they flipped and they can't sell them, guess what? You can do 4 open houses on every day that week if you want. So reach out to investors on that. And I would just add to this. It's one thing doing open houses or whatever activity you decide to do, but if you don't track what you're doing, then it's almost like you're wasting everything, right? Like you have to be making adjustments and practicing the things we teach you, right? We have so many meetings where Brian and everybody here was dropping like scripts and nuggets, right? That's the time where you actually go and put into action and go and practice it, right? And keep tracking how many people came in, how many, conversations did you have? What did you say that you regret you said, and now you're going to say it differently? Like you need to make sure you also track it. So to kind of help you with that, what I would recommend that you do, if you don't have this now, by the end of this year, decide which organizational platform you're going to use. Is it going to be Trello? Is it going to be Asana? I don't care which one, but I truly believe you should pick one platform that helps you organize your business, right? If you haven't heard of Trello, look it up. It's Trello.com or Asana. Both of them are very similar in look, but I can tell you every one of my businesses has a Trello board, and I organize all of my tasks, my businesses in my Trello boards. Otherwise, I would go nuts trying to figure out how to run a business without organization, right? Because Dropbox alone is not going to help you stay organized. That's not detailed enough. Within these organizational platforms, you can have tasks, subtasks, you can tag people, you can comment. It's very interactive without having to call each other, right? All the time, if you have a team. If it's just you, which most of us are single agents doing the work, and on the beginning, that's okay. You are the technician. That's fine. Keep yourself organized. So if you hear a script here that's being, shared with you, create a column in there, scripts. So all of it is organized. All the golden nuggets that you receive are all in one column within the Trello board or Asana. So you don't have to search for it through your email or through your Google Docs. It's all nicely organized. So when you're ready to do an open house, on Friday, you're reviewing your scripts. On Sunday morning, you're reviewing your scripts and you know exactly where they are, right? Then you keep your marketing designs in there. Everything, you can keep all of it organized. I can't tell you enough. It will transform your business. It will allow you to kind of sleep at night knowing that you don't have to remember where anything is, because all of it is stored either in Trello or Asana or something equivalent to that. So that's my challenge to you if you don't have one.
Great, I love it. Yeah, and organization is everything, right? Brian, what's your 1 or 2 tips for everybody to get rocking?
So I've calmed down. The coffee's calmed me down a little. Dennis stole my answer. Okay, so because Dennis was reading my mail, what I would do is here's what I do know. After being with so many agents and training them, it's in those open houses every day where if we're not a student of this industry, like Randy was sharing, what you say matters, but how you say it matters more. And what Randy was trying to tell you was just to organize all these things that helped you while you're out in the marketplace doing what Dennis and Pete were doing. So if I'm in an open house and I'm a newer agent, I need to understand that everything I say matters to who's in front of me. I would learn scripts, and I hated scripts, so I don't have scripts. I have what I call good habits and bad habits. A good habit is when their outcome is my goal. Bad habits is when I'm trying to create a deal that's going to fall apart because it's what I want, not what they want. And so what I said in the very beginning, I regret saying 10 years later because it created a bad habit in me. So what you say matters, how you say it matters more. Practice scripts that when you say something, you get amazing feedback. As an example, in an open house, if you're in a house like Randy's talking about and you meet somebody at the front door and you're like a little puppy dog peeing on yourself because you're all excited because here comes a victim, and you tell them, hey, I can't wait for you to see this kitchen. It's beautiful. It's amazing. This builder did a great job. And they walk in and they see another cherry cabinet kitchen with granite countertops, and they say, I'm going to blow my brains out internally if I ever see another one of these. How could I ever work with this agent who just told me this is a beautiful kitchen? Right? But we're just using adjectives that make us sound like it's really enthusiastic. Stop doing that. It's hurting you. You will never create trust with somebody who doesn't align with what you're thinking. So at open houses, learn very specific scripts where you talk less and you hear more. Hey, what do you think about this kitchen? Oh man, if I see it, now they'll tell you, oh, I hate cherry. I don't like granite. But see, if I lead with I like it, they don't even know me. I'm just a host in a house, and they don't want to work with me now because they don't even align with me. I need to build trust at the front door. And how you do that is very simple. What brought you by here today? Let them tell you. We live in the area. Oh, we're looking for a house for our kids. We're just curious what they did with it. Those are all things they'll say that direct the path of the conversation. Because if they say we live in the area, we just want to see what they did with it. Oh, what do you love about this area? Where do you live? Which house is yours? I'm just going to assume that's possibly a listing presentation. I have to learn to listen. If you can get a nugget, in 30 seconds and they give it to you, run with that nugget and give it back to them. Because as an expert in the area, other than what else is you like about this house? I'm going to walk through like Pete. I'm going to sell 50 homes a year because all I focus on are scripts that allow me to dig deeper into their why and don't give them any of my own personal thoughts about where I'm at, what I'm doing, or this property, because it doesn't matter to them. So that's what I would do. Focus on the open houses, like Dennis said, track your scripts and practice them, and don't pick up bad habits.
Yep. Yeah, and we all have bad habits. That's why I lost all my hair.
That was great.
Who we picked on here? Cam and Greg. Let's go to Cam first.
Uh-oh. No, that was good. That was good. So I think the question was, how can we spur a new agent or an older agent that's slowed down right now? Or what is the magic key? You need to talk to more people. That's it, right? That's it. Open houses are probably the easiest way to talk to more people every single day if you can get inside them. I would say also what's really important is knowing the market, knowing the statistics, know what's really going on. Don't be fed by CNN and all that. Know that there's 358 homes that have sold today in your market. There's 280 homes that are new listed. And when you are knowing that every single day, you can go to anyone and talk in a way that you have confidence and that you can bring value to a conversation. Brian, what you were saying, I think that's also really important, especially for newer agents. Always listen twice as much as you talk. Ask a probing question and then shut up and listen to what they say. And if you don't have the perfect thing to say right when they're done talking, it's okay to have a half a second or a 1 second piece of silence. And you'll find a lot of times they'll kick back up and they'll start talking more about what they want and what they're thinking and what they're doing, what they want, because it's all about them. So when you lead from that contribution, you're really going to find value in when you're doing this. But it doesn't matter if it's at an open house. You can stand in front of Home Depot, right, with your unique selling proposition. If you're confident, if you have, and just talk to 50 people about real estate. Anyone that wants to talk to you, talk to them, and you'll start drumming up business. Now, the most important part of all this is you're going to find people, you're going to interact with people, they're going to raise their hand. You need to then follow up with them. The follow-up is the most important part of all this. If there's one thing to do on your schedule, it's to put on time every single day that you're following up with the active people in your CRM. If you're not doing that, you're either burning money or you're wasting time, because 9 out of 10 of my buyers have come months after I initially talked with them, followed up, figured out what they wanted, sent them property, sent them market reports. And when that time was right, when they were ready, then they purchased. For the open house thing though, real quick, I want to be quick. I know we're running out of time. Use the iPad or the app that your CRM has. There's always an open house app. I know KV Core has one. I know Brivity has one. Use that on the iPad. And when people initially come in, say, hey, you know, it's required that we have you sign in. Because it's digital, they won't even ask a question. They'll just sign right into it, like their brain, it's weird. But they do it rather than having to do the old, they sign right in. It puts them directly into your CRM. It auto puts searches on them. It already puts a drip on them. It makes it so much simpler if you are going to do the CRM route or the open house route. Make sure you're using the login of your CRM, the open house tool. It's a game changer if you're going to do it, you guys. You have to do it, because even if you then fall or you falter on your follow-up, your CRM is going to back you up, and it's going to kind of pick you up and help you out on those people that maybe you just forgot to call or you missed or whatever it may be. The last thing is when you're at these open houses, I think we've all been at open houses that it's been 3 hours and you haven't seen a person, right? I'm sure you guys have. Make sure, well, probably not lately, but anyways, back in the day, which it's, you know, it could be that way soon. Make sure you have work going on while you're there. Have stuff you're doing. Have your postcards you're doing. Have your mailers that you're setting stuff up, designing stuff. Use your phones as a hotspot. So when you're there, you have internet. If the you know, if they don't have internet there, but make sure that you use that time. Be productive while you're there. Don't just sit there and twiddle your thumbs and complain about nobody's at your open house. We've all seen those posts. It's like, if no one's there, great. I can do what I really would rather be doing anyways. But I also need to talk to my 50 people a day. So that's it, guys. Talk to 50 people a day, every single day, about real estate punctually. Don't just brush it off that you're a real estate agent. No, I want to tell you about the market, or I'm doing this. If they don't want to listen, that didn't count. Talk to somebody else. If you don't want to starve, you got to work.
Got to work. What a concept. Go do the work. Mr. Lurch.
Ryan and Cameron hit it right on the head. You have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them in proportion. You'll figure out the whole world of life right there. So when you're thinking about that, as a new person, going back to what Mitch said, or even experienced, November 1, I started a whole new campaign. If you follow me on TikTok, it was a 60-day challenge. Today would be day 44 of the challenge. Go back, watch everything for 44 days. There's something new every day of how to build and change your business. And there's another 16 days to follow. So that's number 1 I would do. Number 2 I would do is use the social media to make yourself look like an expert, especially if you're new. Go out to new construction, show them live. Go walk around towns that you know that you're going to sell real estate, tell stories about the towns. Go buy houses that could be a certain price point and say, by the way, this house is going for this sale price. If you're interested, let me know. Become an expert, even though you may not have the listings or whatever it may be, but become the expert for your area, the knowledge and things of that nature, showing added value, and people will want to come to you, because you're going to build your database. Because again, I think it was Jeff in here just put in also, you have 10% of the people are going to, in your database, are going to do some kind of real estate, even if it's 5%. So if you have 1,000 people, that's 35, sales for the year, or 50 sales for the year. So you have it. You just need to show that you're an expert and you know what you're doing. The difference is exactly what everybody's saying. Do something, show your experience, listen a lot, talk less, and, do the work. There's the process right there.
Talk less. I struggle with that because I don't shut up. Dennis, go ahead.
Yeah, and like Craig was saying, your database. Some people on this call might not have 1,000 people in a database, right? So build your database. Number 1 way to build your database is open houses, right? If you have 5 people walk in and you do it for 3 days a week, you have 15 people per week. At the end of the year, you have 750 people. There's your database. So
Right.
just got to start from ground zero sometimes.
You want to really find out how to get in front of people regularly? Call all your friends and make sure their address is right. Get Home Beat and start sending them their market analysis on their house regularly. They're going to see that, and they're going to see you as an expert that they're not getting from somebody else. Or go to all the houses that have expired and try to figure, but go to the people put them into that system. Now that system's working, people, for you daily, weekly, and monthly while you're still doing something else. That's a great
Yeah,
way of becoming an expert.
It's all about, working. I want to give you, before we hang up here, I want to give everybody the hierarchy of the lead. So you're starting to look at your marketing for next year. And I think this is important for agents, whether you're new or experienced. And just to piggyback on what they said real quick, yeah, you should be calling every single person that you know in your database now. Every day. That should be your goal every single day, is calling everybody that you know, all your friends, all your family, all your acquaintances, and most importantly, all your connectors. And people forget about their connectors, because your connectors are the ones that will give you referrals. They're the ones that will help you. But I want everybody to understand the hierarchy of leads. I think it's important. I know a couple of people are raising their hand in there. Please put the questions in the chat box, because I have no idea how to use that hand thing. Well, one's Brian, but give me 1 second, Brian.
Okay.
So the hierarchy of lead, and I'll let Brian wrap it up, is Facebook leads, which everybody gravitates to because they're cheap. I have a conversion rate of 1 out of 300. A lot of work is, keep in mind, on Facebook, the only reason why you get a lead from Facebook is because they're scrolling and they saw a shiny object. And by the way, these are averages. There's some people that are killing it on Facebook and other stuff. Pay-per-click, right? Google AdWords. I was going to say Yahoo, but I don't think anybody does Yahoo anymore. The average is 1 out of 100. Actually, it's 0.75% is the national average conversion on Google AdWords. Now, when we were doing it, we were at 6% because we had amazing systems in place. But again, do you want to work on 100 people to get 1 sale? So unless you're willing to bring on an ISA, you need to think about it. The third is Zillow and Realtor.com. That's a national average of 3%. So that means out of every 100 leads you get, 3 are going to become a sale. And then the next one is open house leads. Now, I don't have statistics on open house leads. I just don't know them off the top of my head. But I will tell you, when I was doing them full time, and I did them every weekend, even when I was selling 80 to 100 homes a year rather, I did open houses every weekend. And they were at minimum 4 hours. They were every 2 out of 8. So every 8 people I got 2 sales. Right. And that's every 8 people that are actually looking for a house. Right, not people that are just walking through to see the house. And the final one is referrals. Personal referrals are always the best and most important thing you can do, which is why I'm telling you, you need to be calling. You need to be calling everybody you know. Well, and we'll get this on another Circle of Influence, Sphere of Influence call shortly, because there's so many things you can be doing that. On that, we have a quick question in there. Where do you find this data? I have no idea where I got this data from. I probably because I've done all of it. Actually, that's exactly where I got the data from. We did Facebook ads. We tracked everything. And, my lead gen over the last 20 years, we tracked everything. Now we were actually 10 to 15% on Zillow leads, but with the averages, we're 3% on Zillow and Realtor.com leads. Brian, we got 0 seconds left, so go ahead and finish up.
Yeah, just one of the questions was about scripts. I just want to give you probably the most impactful script that you can internalize and then regurgitate it in your own language. I'm just going to give you the basics, how it comes out, but you could own this script and make it personal. At open houses, don't do any malpractice, okay? Don't try to do an appointment in an open house. Set an appointment in an open house. Dennis and everybody here is saying open houses, learn the script to set an appointment for the upcoming week. Because Mitch, I guarantee, Mitch, you were doing this naturally and never thought about what you were doing in your language. It was this. Here's in a nutshell. Thanks for stopping by. On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you guys see yourselves as a buyer today? Like, where are you in this process? Has anybody ever asked you that? Guarantee you, they don't say a 10 very often, right? They might say, oh, you know what, we're a 6 or we're an 8. Hey, that's great. Every seller today wants a 10, and I'd love to sit down and for 30 minutes just show you exactly what every seller is looking for in this marketplace. And I'd love to sit down and meet with you this week. Would Tuesday be great, or maybe Thursday afternoon around 4? And just get comfortable setting appointments, because once you have an appointment, guess what? You get to prepare. You don't have to do anything. You're going to run a meeting that you just set, and you're going to prepare for it. That's it. There
you go. All right, guys. So I think, so we're going to end up, I'm not sure about next week. I'll let everybody know on that. And, but the following one will be how do we end our day and prepare for the next day? Because I think that's really important. How you end your day is just as important how you start your day. And then the one after that, we'll go back. I know it's not on the schedule, but I think we need to go back to open houses because the market is prime for open houses right now. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Thanks, everyone. Great call. See you guys.